Hey folks, welcome to another video for Winterfest 2021. This week, Vic Pruett from Daytona Beach is going to be talking to us about trust. So grab your Bible, turn over to Proverbs, and get ready and join in this short little study, and we'll see you next week. God bless you.
In Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." That's kind of hard to do, right? It's hard to do because we are practiced, we're used to leaning on our experiences, on what we've done in the past, what we see other people doing. And so we kind of want to lean on what we see, and we have a hard time trusting in a God we cannot see. But let's just think about it for a minute. If you think about it, our own understanding of things and leaning on that understanding, how has that really been working for us? If you think about it, there's a lot of things we've done wrong, mistakes we've made, missteps, embarrassing moments, and then moments in which we're just ashamed of because we have leaned on our own understanding of things, our own way of doing things, our own resources, and we begin to realize maybe that doesn't work out. I I've been married for 25 years. I have a couple of kids. I serve in a ministry where I work with a couple hundred people. And what I'm discovering in every one of those situations is people do not like to be bullied. People do not like to be manipulated. And that getting my way isn't always the best way. And so I'm learning to stop living by those understandings of life or that way of doing things because it's not working. And maybe you're looking at your own life and you're thinking, yeah, the way I've been doing things lately, it's just not working. In fact, all I'm doing is hurting the people in my family or my friends or my relationship with God. And so it's time to do something radical, do something completely different, and just trust in this God. And not just, and when I say trust in Him, I mean trust in His Word, trust in His way of dealing with relationships, dealing with people, and just handling life's obstacles. Speaking of obstacles, in Mark chapter 4, there's this amazing story. Jesus has been teaching, preaching all day long. He's exhausted. And so he says, "Hey, let's go across the Sea of Galilee and just get some rest." And his disciples are like, "Oh, yeah, totally. We're exhausted." So they get in the boat. They start going across the lake. It's nighttime. And Jesus falls asleep. And that's when all of a sudden this storm comes out of nowhere and the waves are coming, the wind is coming, the rain is probably coming down, and it's just one of those kind of storms that freaks people out. And I mean, there's seasoned fishermen in this boat and they're freaking out and they're all saying, "We're all going to die." Everyone is in communion of chaos, communion of fear, and they're freaking out. Everyone but one voice that's not joining in, and they're noticing that. Wait a minute, where's Jesus? And they go, "Oh, there he is. Jesus, wake up. Don't you care if we're going to die or not?" And so Jesus gets up and I don't know if there's water in his beard and his hair or whatever. And he just like, looks at the chaos, not just the chaos of the storm, but the chaos of his disciples. And he just looks at everything and just says, "Peace, be still. What's wrong with your faith, guys?" And everything just goes calm. It goes from chaos to calm. Why? Because Jesus has this amazing power. He has this way of doing things that's so much better than what we can do. We are limited, He is not. And the disciples now are, even though they're calm, they're not freaking out. They're starting to freak out a little bit on the inside, asking the question, "Who is this guy? Even the wind and the waves obey him." Of course, we know the answer. He's the Son of God, right? That's why they've been following him. Of course, he can do these things. Later on in the story, we get into chapter 5 of Mark, and they end up in a graveyard. And we're not going to go too deep into that story, other than to say there's this crazy naked guy coming out of the graves, going "Ah!" And he's got all these demons inside of him. And Jesus looks at him and says, "Hey, demons, get out of him!" And the demons they leave, and the man is healed, and the demons are destroyed, and everyone's just like, wow, Jesus has some serious power. Later on in that same chapter, further on in the chapter, there's this guy named Jairus, and he comes to Jesus and he says, nothing else works. His understanding is this of life, especially when it comes to his daughter who is dying. Nothing else works. My only hope, my only answer is Jesus. And so he begs Jesus to come with him, save my daughter who is dying. And Jesus agrees. And they're on their way to Jairus' house. And that's when this woman who has been struggling, she's been sick, she's been dealing with bleeding for years, and nothing else works. Nothing else in life works. She's been miserable. She's only getting worse, and it's awful. And she finally decides this. If nothing else works, I'm not going to lean on those things. I'm not going to lean on my own understanding of things. I'm just going to lean on the one person that seems to know how to live life and knows how to do things. And so she says, if I can just have a little bit of Jesus in my life, maybe that will be the answer. And so she makes her way through the chaos of the crowd and somehow touches Jesus. And she's healed. And she's cured. And it's just an amazing story. But the story's not over. Remember, Jesus is on his way to Jairus' house. And as they get close to Jairus' house, that's when they are greeted from his family, Jairus' family, and they say, she's dying. She's died. She's gone. And everyone's crying and wailing. And their understanding of things is that's it. There's nothing else that can be done. Jesus makes his way past all that. He goes to the little girl and he says, she's not dead. She's asleep. And they laugh at him. And I think they're laughing not to necessarily be mean. They're laughing because, Jesus, you don't get it. Their understanding of things is this. There's no more hope. There's nothing else we can do. We are limited. She is dead. No hope here. And again, their understanding is limited. But Jesus looks at the little girl and he says, it's time to get up. And she wakes up. And it's this amazing story where our limitations are evident. There's a lot of things we just can't do. The only thing we can do is follow Jesus. The only thing we can do is listen to Jesus. The only thing we can do is follow his way, to trust in his ways, to live his example, and to trust in his power, and to know that he promises life. You've seen the trust fall videos on TikTok or on Instagram, and some of them are pretty good. You know, you watch one where someone gets up on a chair or a table, and they're to fall back, and everyone's to catch them, and it's kind of a scary thing to do. Maybe you've done it before, but you watch these videos, and the ones that are done right, the person falls back, everyone catches them, and they're thinking, yeah, you trust the right people, things work out. You trust in the wrong things or in the wrong people, and you can see some of those videos, the trust fall fails, where the person falls and no one catches them, or they fall the wrong way, which is weird, and they get hurt. You trust in the wrong people, you trust in the wrong things, it hurts literally. Have you been trusting in the wrong things lately? Maybe you've been trusting in yourself. How is that working out for you? Whether it's your friends or at school, with your relationship with your family or with God. At some point, we have to learn and realize we're limited, but he is not. And if we can lean on his power, if we can trust in his power, if we can trust in his way of doing things, and his way of working in relationships with people, we may discover a new way, a way in which we're not trying to be served, but we are serving, a way in which we're learning to live with some humility, a way in which we're learning to love people and not rely upon what they can give us or the resources of this world, but to rely upon this amazing God who teaches us how to interact with people, how to overcome obstacles, to overcome some of the most hopeless moments in life. We learn to lean on him. I want to encourage you to say a little micro prayer, this little nano prayer each day. You don't have to say it out loud wherever you go, whether it's at school or at home or with friends. Say this little prayer. It doesn't have to be long. It can just be a few seconds where you just simply say, God, teach me to trust you, to lean on you, to lean on your truth and not on my own understanding or on my own resources. And I truly believe that if we could say that prayer enough, and if we're continuing to say that prayer throughout the day, we'll start making wise decisions where we're not leaning on our resources and freaking out, but we're starting to make the decisions like that lady did who was bleeding, or like Jairus, and we start leaning on our only hope, on the only one who has the answers, the one who has the power, and the one who has the truth. We learn to lean on him. And if we could do that, we find that we're empowered to overcome life's obstacles, to make the right decisions, and to do what's right. Grace and peace to you all.